Hello and welcome back to X Alert. When you're sick of the mainstream media, find out what the people have to say. I'm sorry for not putting out a video on Friday. The city I live in was burning to the ground. Usually I would say that God wanted to smite us down for being a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah, but this time it seems like people were the actual problem. Politicians, to be precise. Like the mayor of LA, Karen Bass, who couldn't even be bothered to answer questions while she gallivanted around in Ghana on taxpayer money.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up, please? Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
Or how about Gavin Newsom, who diverted millions of gallons of water into the Pacific Ocean to save the smelt fish?
Because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal because I've been trying to get...
Now, if you were thinking, well, Trump's saying it and Trump always lies, so that can't be true, check out these statistics. California Governor Gavin Newsom cut $101 million of funding for wildlife and forest resilience last year, while diverting water to increase the population of a tiny smelt fish species. Newsom signed the budget cuts into law in June 2024, which included $5 million decrease to the CAL FIRE fuel reduction teams, the people that clean up the forest so these types of things don't happen, $4 million from Forest Legacy Program to promote forest management, $8 million from monitoring and research programs, $3 million from Interagency Forest Data Hub, and $12 million to make homes more resilient to fires. Newsom has supported plans that prioritize water allocations to restore the smelt fish population by sending water into the ocean rather than diverting to other areas of the state. Source is the Daily Mail. Now, before you buy into the mainstream media lie that no amount of water and no amount of preparation could have possibly mitigated this natural disaster, consider using your common sense for a second. Otherwise, you'll have embarrassing moments like this.
Former LA mayoral candidate and real estate developer Rick Caruso criticizing the city's response to the windstorm and fires. He says officials should have been more prepared.
The real issue to me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spread so quickly. And the second is you got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is basic stuff. This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
Despite what you have heard from Caruso, no firefighters have told us that they are running out of water.
And let's go out to Gigi Graciette. She is live in Pacific Palisades. I know your signal's not the best, but Gigi, what can you tell us?
Well, firefighters have told me they have no water on this block, and you may be able to make out the ember storm that we're in the middle of right now. This house going to be a total loss. They have no water to put on this fire. They are standing by because they're trying to save the home that is next to it.
Certainly, that house could have used some mitigating factors like water. And now you might say to these, in defense of these corrupt politicians, well, it's not their fault. It's a natural disaster. It's the worst winds we've had in 100 years. Remember that these fires happen almost every year, and larger than expected Santa Ana winds have been predicted for many years. Even Joe Rogan, not by any stretch a meteorologist or a firefighter, was able to see this coming years ago.
It's spooky, man. It's spooky like a horror movie. I talked to a fireman once. He was telling me, he goes, dude, one day. He goes, it's just going to be the right wind, and fire's going to start in the right place, and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean, and there's not a thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA, and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Turns out Joe Rogan was exactly correct. Or should I say the firefighter that told him that. But he was wrong about one thing. Because there is a single fucking thing you could do about it. Like, how about funding the fire department? Listen to the current LA fire chief explain how the city and the bureaucrats and the politicians failed her and failed the community of Los Angeles regarding the fires.
I want to be very, very clear. Yes, we took a $17 million budget cut. And as we know, any budget cut would negatively impact our ability to carry out our mission. I want to also clarify that I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. It's my job as the fire chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department to make sure that our firefighters have exactly what they need to do their jobs. And that's why I'm talking to you today. The Palisades fire, everybody's seen it. It is absolutely one of the most horrific natural disasters in the history of Los Angeles. And even with an additional 100 engines, I tell you, we were not going to catch that fire. But with that being said, let me be clear. The $17 million budget cut and the elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus. So with that, we have over 100 fire apparatus out of service. And having these apparatus in the proper amount of mechanics would have helped. And so it did absolutely negatively impact. I want to also be clear that I have, over the last 3 years, been clear that the fire department needs help. We can no longer sustain where we are. We do not have enough firefighters. With that, I have also requested multiple budgets, interim budgets, to show how understaffed, under-resourced, and underfunded the LAFD is. So with that, also, we have clear data that shows the LAFD needs more help. We need 62 more fire stations. These reports also show that we've had a 55% increase in overall call volume since 2010. And guess what? We're doing it with less firefighters. I was also directed to develop a plan as part of a budget reduction exercise, and that could equate to $48.8 million. And I rang the bell that these additional cuts could be very, very devastating for our ability to provide public safety. That would have resulted to 15 fire stations closing down and potentially the elimination of over 300 firefighters. Again, I want to be clear that I submitted a very large budget that will actually allow our firefighters to do their jobs. And I tell you,
$17 million cut from the budget, taking out over 100 fire trucks. Now, I don't care if those 100 fire trucks wouldn't have fully stopped any fire because of the high winds. That's true, obviously. But they wouldn't have helped. They wouldn't have saved one house, one life. Not only was there $17 million cut, they wanted to cut, as she said, $48 million more dollars. Now, that wouldn't just take out 100 trucks. That would take out 15 fire stations, which they're already understaffed to address the increased call volume. Thank God bureaucracy moves too slow for those cuts to have taken place. So, what happens next? Where do we go from here? Well, if you are one of the corrupt politicians like Gavin Newsom, you're thinking about LA 2.0. Watch how gleefully Gavin Newsom describes speculators coming in to buy up the now burnt properties, like Oprah Winfrey did in Maui.
We're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks. We're dealing with them.
And you might go, what the hell does that mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Are you moving forward to allow the speculators to buy up all these properties? Are the speculators just code for BlackRock? We get a few more details in this interview about LA 2.0.
With all of that, and all that opportunity and that pride and spirit that comes from not just hosting those 3 iconic games and venues, but also the opportunity, I think, to rebuild at the same time. And that's why we're already organizing a Marshall Plan. We already have a team of looking and reimagining LA 2.0, and we're making sure everyone's included, not just the folks on the coast, people here that were ravaged by this disaster.
You just said you're organizing a Marshall Plan for the rebuilding of California. What is that Marshall Plan?
Tell
us about this Marshall Plan.
We're just starting to lay out. I mean, we're still fighting these fires. So we're already talking to city leaders. We're already talking to civic leaders. We're already talking to business leaders and nonprofits. We're talking to labor leaders. We're starting to organize how we can put together a collection of individuals on philanthropy for recovery, how we can organize the region, how we can make sure that we are seeking federal assistance for the Olympics more broadly, but also federal assistance for the recovery efforts, and how we can galvanize the community with folks that love this community to really develop a mindset so that at scale we're dealing with the scope of this tragedy and responding to it at scale with efficiency like the executive order I talked about, time value of delivering projects, addressing building codes, addressing permitting issues, and moving forward to rebuilding and being more resilient.
Lot of talking. But that's all we really hear from these people. Let's keep an eye on it. I'll keep you updated about what kind of demonic world order fucking LA 2.0 is on the way. For now, just send your prayers and any charity, any charitable donations you have to legitimate organizations in California that are helping people, the Red Cross, there are others, and keep vigilant. There will be people that try to take advantage of this catastrophe. Gavin Newsom, of course, but also others. So be careful not to donate to fake charities. That becomes a big problem. And be careful not to buy mainstream lies about how and why this fire was as bad as it actually was. Okay, now we're going to do a quick clown corner because no matter how bleak things are, we have to have a clown. There's millions on X. We find one every week, and we present them here for your pleasure. Enjoy.
I think Kamala Harris needs a catchphrase.
Ooh, yes, definitely a catchphrase.
Oh,
Kamala forever.
That's better.
Okay, how about I'm down with democracy? It's just clean, it's simple.
Okay, I like that.
It's hard to argue with that.
Kamala Harris, down with democracy.
Oh, yeah. I'm Kamala Harris, and I say down with democracy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Down with democracy.
Down with democracy, indeed. Thank the Lord that was not the outcome. And Hollywood actors don't decide that we should be down with democracy. Okay, thank you, everybody. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed and you want to hear more. And I'll see you next time. Peace.